I've watched smart people make the same devastating compounding mistakes for years, not because they pick bad stocks, but because they misjudge timing and succumb to psychological patterns that seem invisible in the moment. A 35-year-old who delays contributing for 5 years doesn't simply lose 5 years of savings. They lose 5 years of compounding on every dollar that would have been invested, plus the compounding on that growth for the remaining decades until retirement. The biggest wealth destroyers aren't about market knowledge. They're about the human decisions that feel harmless when you make them. With U.S. large-cap equities expected to deliver annualized returns of 5.9% over the next decade, the cost of delaying your start compounds ruthlessly. Consider someone starting at 25 versus 30 versus 35. Each 5-year delay doesn't just cost you those 5 years of contributions. A 25-year-old investing $500 monthly until retirement accumulates roughly $1.37 million by age 65. Wait until 30? That drops to $954,000. Start at 35? You're looking at $661,000. The person who delayed until 35 lost $709,000 compared to the 25-year-old. Not because they contributed less total money, but because they lost decades of compounding on their early dollars. Every month you spend getting ready to invest is a month those returns are working for someone else, not you. But here's what I've seen people get wrong about the safe choice. Today's high-yield savings accounts are offering around 4.1% APY, while inflation has accelerated to 3.8% as of April 2026. That sounds like you're beating inflation, right? You're earning 4.1%, inflation is 3.8%. You're ahead by 0.3%. But this narrow margin reveals exactly why safe becomes risky over decades. When your real returns hover near zero, you're essentially treading water while watching everyone else swim ahead. Meanwhile, that same money in broad market investments has historically delivered real returns of 6 to 7% annually after inflation. The gap compounds mercilessly. $100,000 earning a real 0.3% annually becomes $109,000 after 30 years. That same $100,000 earning a real 6% becomes $574,000. The safe choice didn't protect your wealth. It slowly, quietly destroyed it. Which hits closer to home? Waiting until your finances are perfect to start investing, or keeping everything in savings because it feels safer? Comment your answer below. Now let's dig into the third mistake that's costing people even more money. The most insidious compounding killer isn't market timing or investment selection. It's the stop and start pattern that feels completely harmless when you're making those decisions. Job transitions create the first trap. The employee deferral limit follows you across employers, but payroll systems don't communicate. Change jobs mid-year, and you can easily overshoot the annual $23,500 limit without realizing it. But the real damage happens when people cash out their 401k entirely during job transitions, thinking they'll restart fresh at the new company. This isn't about losing a few months of contributions. It's about breaking the compounding chain entirely. When you withdraw $15,000 from your 401k at age 32, you're not just losing $15,000. You're losing the $180,000 that money would have become by retirement at 6% annual returns. Every contribution gap, every cash out, every "I'll catch up later" decision creates a permanent scar in your compounding timeline that no amount of aggressive saving can fully heal. Federal student loans currently sit at 6.39% for undergraduates, and credit cards average 21% APY as of February 2026. The conventional wisdom says eliminate debt before investing, but the math reveals when this becomes financially devastating. If you're carrying student debt at 6.39% while keeping money in savings, earning 4.1%, you're making the mathematically wrong choice. Expected 5.9% market returns beat your loan rate even after taxes. Credit card debt at 21% changes everything. No investment strategy reliably outpaces that. The mistake isn't having debt, it's treating all debt as equal. Every month you delay investing while paying off low-rate student loans, you're choosing the guaranteed 6.39% return of debt elimination over the probable 5.9% market return. Plus, you're missing the compounding timeline entirely. Someone who invests while carrying student debt but aggressively attacks credit card debt isn't being reckless. They understand that different interest rates demand different strategies. The debt paralysis comes from treating the decision as binary when it's actually tiered by rate. The real wealth killer isn't any single mistake. It's the cascade effect of combining them. Someone who delays starting until 30, keeps their emergency fund in savings, earning 4.1%, and then interrupts their contributions during job transitions isn't making three separate errors. They're compounding the damage exponentially. The 401k contribution limit increased to $24,500 for 2026, but that higher limit becomes meaningless when you're not consistently using it. Automate your investments before you automate anything else. Start with whatever amount feels uncomfortable but manageable. Ignore market timing completely. Treat your retirement contributions like a utility bill, non-negotiable, regardless of what else is happening in your life. The person who automates $200 monthly starting today will outperform the person who waits 2 years to contribute $500 monthly, even though the second person contributes more total dollars per year. Subscribe for more financial independence, retire early breakdowns. Our next video offers tips on how you can be the 1% who can retire early.